something to say there, because these two compete for the worst movie of all time, superhero movie of all time.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of the Super Movie Studies Podcast, a show about comic book movies approached from every angle, and a community of nerds discussing how fiction relates to nonfiction. I'm your comic book cultured host, Michael Maurer, joined by the movie maestro.
James Schuyler Houtsma.
And the scientific scholar.
Ben Anderson. SMSP is your premier movie discussion podcast. Every week we continue our journey, exploring our favorite subject, superhero movies. Every fan sees the movies differently, so we gather some amateur experts to discuss certain aspects of the movie.
Whether it's money, comic books, music, science, or Ophelia Powers, SMSP talks about it all. In this week's episode, Catwoman, ladies and gentlemen. And yes,
Catwoman.
There will be spoilers.
I'm sorry. I'm interrupting because it's an Intoxicast. Is anyone else involved in the Intoxicast?
I've had 2 sips of beer since we started recording.
What's everyone's status right now for this fucking movie?
I could drive.
Yeah, okay, I can't. What's yours, Skylar?
Half a bottle in.
Half a bottle in?
Intending to hit 2.
Okay.
Half a bottle of what, though?
Shock top.
Okay.
I have had a whiskey sour and 2 rum and cokes, both sprinkled with moonshine. So
honey.
I'm good. I'm there.
Oh, honey.
I'm ready for this awful movie.
Because if there's any movie deserving of whatever the terminology was you just used to describe what we're doing.
Drunkscast.
Drunkscast, yes.
No, Intoxicast.
Yes, there we go.
Oh.
It's 2004's Catwoman.
2004's Catwoman. I'm gonna lead the trail here just because I'm gonna hope that I'm gonna roll down a hill with words. You know what I mean?
No. But I like the imagery.
Yes.
Do a Jack and Jill.
I'm gonna trip on a log, and I'm just gonna keep cascading my opinion of this film downwards and downwards because I want so hard to not just rag on things. Okay? People put a lot of work into movies, and it's really harsh of us to have not have been involved in that process at all and to just take a shit on all they've done. But Catwoman, you have to talk about Catwoman with the assumption that someone knew what they were doing and decided to make this movie anyway. Because this is a horrible film. In fact, I think it is worse than Fantastic Four 2015. Simply because Fantastic Four 2015 was so bad that it took me to a realm of appreciation of life. All right? Catwoman just puts me down and then keeps me there in these dull dredges of awful, awful entertainment that I'm just subjecting myself to. There are absolutely horrendous cat puns. She does some stupid cat things that I can never get over, like eating tuna straight out of a can, going to a bar.
You've never done that?
Oh my God. And ordering a White Russian, hold the vodka, hold the Kahlua. So straight up cream then?
So I have done both these things. I've eaten tuna straight out of the can, and it's delicious. And I've gone to a bar and ordered a glass of milk.
No, cream is different than milk, homie.
You know what? Tell that to someone.
Stalin.
Oh my God. And just the special effects and the absolute blatant I'm thinking of the right word here. Exacerbation of Halle Berry's sexuality.
Exploitation.
Thank you. Exploitation. Exacerbation works in the right context. This was not the right context.
Exacerbation is a great word, but this is not the place to use that word because it makes no sense.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what I meant.
I'm sure the filmmakers were hoping people would exacerbate to her. Oh wait.
Solid, Skylar. I'm going to pass it off to you. I've said my 2 cents, but there is more coming. Don't you worry.
Okay. You know, I respect that for I don't know how long this movie's production schedule was, but people got up, went to work every day for Catwoman. I just don't know what for. I don't know who this movie is for. It's certainly not for any comic book fans because they throw all that crap out the window. It's not for anyone who likes good, well put together movies because it's a total dumpster fire. I don't know who this movie is for. I don't. It's frequently just absurd and silly, but it never feels like it's intending to be that. And part of it, I want to say, is I'll expand upon this in my segment later because remembering this back earlier in the week was like, that is the one completely bogus, silly aspect of this movie I remember. And then I remember the final scene when Sharon Stone falls from the tower and does these completely physics-defying spins and then just flattens out.
Sharon Stone turns into Nadia Comaneci in the final scene when she falls out that window and does
What's-
a freaking.
What's great
Triple
about that
double-
shot, if I may interject,
Please.
what's great about that shot is you can tell where they go from using a stunt double to a dummy to a CGI, and they keep switching back and forth between those, between different cuts.
No,
And you
I
can
think
tell
at
what's a
one
dummy and
moment-
what's CGI. It's so great.
For a half a second, Nadia Comaneci was in the movie doing 300 flips out the window.
Oh, that scene alone makes this movie almost worth watching. Everything else is it's just garbage. Popcorn Ben.
Okay, my opinion on this movie. So, a bit into my personal life, I am remodeling the bathroom in my house because there is no shower in there. So we have to put a shower in, and that means that the tub that's in there now has to come out. And it's a great big heavy cast iron tub, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get it out. And the only thing I could think to do was maybe like run to Menards, buy a big ass like 32-pound sledgehammer, and just smash it to bits. I did not need to buy the sledgehammer because I just like slammed my head against the bathtub while watching this movie, and it broke. No, this movie. The other thing I wanted to say about this movie, and then I'll actually give my opinion, is in 2003 I saw 4 movies: Finding Nemo, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Spy Kids 3D Game Over.
Should I interject you and say that this movie came out in 2004?
And also that there are 4 movies and you said 3?
Well, Spy Kids 3.
Intoxicast.
I've had like a third of a beer. I'm already drunk. This is what working does to you. But the trailer for this movie played before one of those movies.
Oh, continue.
It played before probably either Spy Kids or Pirates of the Caribbean. And there was some like 6 or 7-year-old behind me that was like, that looks so good. And I was 12 or 13, and I was like, that trailer was hot garbage, and this movie's going to be hot garbage. And I did not have a real nuanced cultural understanding at the time. And I did not see it when it came out. I saw it for the first time this morning, and it actually was not as bad as I was expecting.
Whew. No.
It was not as bad as I was expecting. It's definitely hot-ass trash.
Okay. But you have to
definitely,
find
like-
a redeeming trait in it now. That is your job.
My job
What is-
is to find a redeeming trait.
Yes. What is the quality of Catwoman that does not plummet it to the bottom of your list of films you wish to never see again?
it had a plot you could follow.
Bullshit, but continue.
Like, it had a plot. Like, I understood what was happening the whole time. It was
All right.
totally bizarre. And
It's kind of like they drew it on a chalkboard, I guess. So continue.
yeah, it's like okay, Catwoman gets murdered. Why? What's the villain's actual motivation? Catwoman gets murdered. She gets these powers. She wants revenge. There's a thing happening with face melting face cream, like that. There's a plot. There is a plot.
Okay.
That is what I can say in defense of this movie.
All right.
Now that you
It's better
say,
than the Phantom Menace
Ooh.
I don't know.
by far. I watched the Phantom Menace just a couple months ago. This movie is better.
Nope.
It's funny you say face melting face cream. How awesome would it be to introduce like Clayface into this? But then that's not the movie for this because this movie abandons anything Batman, Catwoman related.
Or just straight up do a Game of Thrones crossover with the Stone Men.
Ooh. I'm only on season 3 now, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
Anything. Literally anything.
It's funny. The director of this film, Pitoff.
Pitoff, your day is here, motherfucker.
Yes. I believe I read somewhere he has something. His background's in like fashion, isn't it?
It's in VFX. I'll get to that in
okay.
my section.
This movie, from the look of it to the sound of it to just the utter agony of when anyone opens their mouth, just reminds me of kind of like a fashion runway show. This is the movie equivalent of a fashion runway show. Unfortunately, it's just Catwoman. It's called Catwoman in name only. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty garbage film. But did the public enjoy it? Let's find out by the numbers. Let's quantify the quality of this film, all right? Money. Production
Indeed.
budget, $100 million. That's about $88 million more than I would give it.
what the fuck did they spend it on?
For real.
You know, for a summer blockbuster, that's a little on the cheap end. For this movie, it had to have all gone to the cast. It had to.
We'll come back to that.
Cool. But did audiences reimburse the filmmakers for their efforts? No. Domestic gross is $40.2 million. Foreign gross, $41.9. Pretty much even. What you doing there, Ben? Okay. That brings it to a worldwide gross of $82.1 million. Wah, wah.
Oh, fantastic. If I remember correctly, this film did not open up among competition, though.
This was kind of one of those late summer openers before late summer openers were a thing. I believe it opened July 19th in that late July time slot. Basically, 12 years ago this weekend from when we're recording this.
Time capsule, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, it didn't really have a lot of competition, and it still ended up shit in the bed. So, to put things in a little bit of perspective, it opened to $16 million its opening weekend. That was third place behind The Bourne Supremacy, second Bourne movie, and I, Robot with Will Smith. For comparison's sake, Spider-Man 2 opened about 3 weeks earlier to, exponentially more. 88 million opening weekend for that one compared to this one's 16.
Like,
so,
if you were to roast a steak over the dumpster fire that is this movie, you would get Spider-Man 2's opening weekend.
Yes, that would be one tasty opening weekend, and that's not even counting Spider-Man 2 on a Wednesday. So I'm not even including the
on a fucking Wednesday.
It opened on a fucking Wednesday. I'm not even
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. That 88 million is only Friday through Sunday. I'm not even including the Wednesday and Thursday numbers, so it's even better. Closest comparison, actually, for that year in particular would be 2004's The Punisher. It brought in just about as much as this movie did, but it was made for a lot less. So it's technically still more of a hit.
Oh boy.
This movie's better than Spy Kids 3D.
You know what? I'm not even gonna give it that.
Really?
Nope. I have a little bit of fond memories with Spike. Spike in 3D was the first movie I saw in theaters by myself. So it kind of felt like a small piece of independence at the time.
Okay, fair. I got headaches because I wore the 3D glasses on top of my prescription glasses.
Ooh.
And I just was like, whoa, things are not quite right, because 3D wasn't quite there.
No,
Right,
it was still red-blue.
That was back in the shitty days of 3D. Oh, just quick, what was our first movie by ourselves in theaters?
Spike is 3D.
Was it really?
I have never gone to a movie alone.
What?
Yeah, I don't go to movies. If I go to a movie, it's because someone else drags me there. Drags me there.
That's a personality trait. Skylar, your turn.
Oh, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my god, that was my second one!
It was so cool.
I talked to a random stranger next to me and told him everything about Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series, because I was just like this little punk teenage kid. I don't know, I was probably 11, 12 at the time, and I was like, hey, you know why General Grievous choked so much? Well, it's because Mace Windu collapsed his lungs right before the beginning of this movie. And the dude sitting next to me was so polite. He was just like, "Oh, really? That's pretty awesome, dude. What's your name?" It was a very nice experience.
Yes. I did about the same thing when I went to Phantom Menace several years earlier, but the person sitting next to me was like, shh,
shh, shh, shut up, you child.
which is, to be fair, what I would do, still do, want to do all the time.
If an 8-year-old ever tries to talk to me in a theater, I will,
It's a trap.
The shame bell from Game of Thrones Season 6, they have an app of that.
Shame.
Shame. Ding-a-ding. Shame, shame, shame. And I would just, do that for 20 minutes while staring them directly in the eye.
I think I'd entertain it, because I think that kid would have some really cool shit to say. Any kid that's willing to talk about a movie is probably amped up about it, and I think he would say some really relevating, or not relevating. That's not a word.
Enlightening.
Thank you. You guys are going to be on top of this today. Thank you so much.
See,
I wonder how many.
If anyone talks to me in movie theater besides my fiance, they get a look. And that's not a good one.
Yeah. I wonder how many talking kids were in Catwoman.
Plenty enough. And silent boners.
I hope not.
Shame boners.
Yeah.
Shame.
So
Shame.
I guess it's time for comic book section.
Fuck.
Oh, guys, what do you want me to say? There was a scene where she got attacked by a seagull. What am I supposed to do with that? The regular comic book section. I usually talk about comic book characters that are introduced in this film. Except Skylar mentioned earlier, there's nothing comic book related in this movie outside of Catwoman, and that's not even Catwoman. What the hell? Skylar just walked away in anger and disgust.
I think he's getting more beer.
Yeah, that too. That's also a valid answer to everything I said, because all I'm going to talk about is Catwoman, because this isn't Catwoman's primary or first appearance in film. That was Batman Returns. Oh no, actually Batman 1966. Don't let the nerds attack me now. But this is the one where she needs the most justice done back to her. Because Catwoman premiered in Batman #1, 1940. Bob Kane, Bill Finger. Her name is Selina Kyle. I have no idea where they got Patience Phillips from. There's not a single even
There's no incarnation of Catwoman that's named Patience.
Not at all. There's a Holly
That's
Robinson and like a Japanese one named like S.O. Kanakawa or something.
That's such a bizarre and unnecessary thing to do.
For real, why not just name her Selena Kyle and continue to put this axe in the ground? Um, so Selena Kyle, any character that's lasted more than 10 years probably has multiple origin stories at this point. They used to make a new one every 10 to 20 years, reboot the universe, but now it seems that like every 5, everyone gets a reboot. So let's start with the basics. Again, I have no idea where they got Patience Phillips from. Her name is Selena Kyle. That is Catwoman. She was made to give Batman, the Batman book, more sex appeal, of course, in the 40s. What do you need more? Sex appeal. And Robin.
But don't mix those two, unless otherwise you'll get a congressional hearing.
So Kyle started out as the Cat, a burglar and jewel thief that attracts the attention of Batman and Robin. She is established as a femme fatale, and their love-hate relationship begins in her first issue, with the end of the book, which it is implied that Batman lets her escape because she's so darn sexy. Robin's about to bound after her, and he sort of like blocks the way for him. Sort of a weird reverse cock block. And lets her get away. Implied.
The 40s were so subtle.
She appears regularly after that with this dynamic until about 1954, when she suddenly hit by a beautiful thing called the Comics Code Authority. The CCA, by the way, was a sanctioned set of guidelines enforced by editors because a psychologist named Frederick Wertheim improperly linked reading comic books at a young age would lead to a life of sex, violence, and pedophilia.
It was an early version of the ESRB.
And the MMPA.
Oh, yeah.
Both things are just gratuitously out of whack. But at least the CCA went away. Because people just sort of forgot that they once thought that comic books led to a life of crime by about the 60s. So she's back in 1966. Her origin is now changed with saying that the Catwoman we knew back then was actually a Catwoman of Earth 2. She is now elderly and a long time ago reformed from crime, married Batman, and had a daughter named Helena, who became the first Huntress.
Oh, I did not know that.
So this new Selena Kyle is introduced in Batman Year 1. Now, she works as a dominatrix for a pimp that uses threats against Selena's sister, Maggie, ironically a nun, as leverage. Motivated to protect her sister, Selena trains vigorously in martial arts. She saves Maggie, finding prostitution to be no life for her, finding prostitution to be no life.
Did you hear what you said?
No, what? No, I say whore.
You said whore.
Yeah.
Lol.
Freudian slip.
Maybe. Finding prostitution to be no life for her, or the runaway that she had adopted named Holly Robinson, who would later become the second Catwoman.
With whom she has weirdly vague relationship stuff going on, especially in Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight. Oh yeah, it's like this little sister / roommate kind of thing. So at some points she sees her as something she needs to protect, but at other points an equal. So it gets kind of confusing on what exactly her role is in mirroring or reflecting Catwoman. So Selena modifies a catsuit that her old pimp, whom she killed by the way, gave her, and gets a taste for burglary. At first, Robin Hood style, take from the rich, give to the poor, you know. But crime always has you running in with Batman. But seeing him in action only inspires her further to becoming the Catwoman. Robbing for pleasure and for the poor, part-time vigilante, and on-again, off-again lover of the Dark Knight. That is the Catwoman.
And the worst part of Batman Arkham City.
Maybe, but not a piece of that is really seen in the movie. The burglary part
So
is
nowhere in the
almost seen.
comic books is it like a mythical god chosen one type.
She's just a normal person. She just likes cats.
She just has a cat suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only area not related to the comics that it seems to actually follow something that previously came was there's some closeness to Batman Returns where both of them kind of had like an accident, were presumed dead, and then a bunch of cats show up and they're alive again.
Well, they have to make I'm sorry, they don't have to. They keep trying to make Catwoman mythical, right? In the 90s and 2000s, not believing that anyone could ever achieve these things without being a normal person unless they're Batman or a guy. I I don't know if it's strictly that, but they're like, why do we have to give the women superpowers? Why can't they just be badasses like Batman without superpowers? I think we've moved away from that. I mean, Anne Hathaway's Catwoman clearly didn't have any superpowers, and she was probably the most successful rendition we've seen of that interpretation of that character that we've seen in at least 10 years.
So good. So good.
But that was kind of a short and sweet piece of section. So I want to give some cat facts about Catwoman, just real quick, like a little
I love cat
subsection. Yeah, a little subsection of Catwoman. Some fun facts revolving around this film. So the Catwoman script was in development starting in 1993. Originally slated to include the producers of the Tim Burton Batman films, with Tim Burton back to direct, and Michelle Pfeiffer to reprise her role as Catwoman. Okay, sounds almost entertaining. Or probably really entertaining. But with the mild camp success that is Batman Forever, the dark return to the Burtonverse was not in the cards for the producers. So it stayed in production hell for about 10 years before the success of X-Men and Spider-Man sort of brought superhero comic books back into a light of this crappy find out where we are period. That is the mid-2000s.
Batman Returns kind of killed the whole dark superhero thing for a long while because they couldn't sell the McDonald's toys with that. So any plans on that just kind of went down the toilet with Batman Forever.
Penguin was just, I think, too weird of a villain. He wasn't comical enough like Joker was, but that's all Batman Returns talk.
Which is a great Tim Burton movie, I will say. That's pure Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm. So, another fact, Angus Strathy was the costume designer for Moulin Rouge and won the Academy Award for his work on it. He's also the costume designer for this film and created the droopiest feathered blouses for Patience Phillips to wear and pajama pants, as well as designed the dominatrix Catwoman outfit. So just goes to show that one movie as well as another does not define who you are. It can go up and down, people.
Yeah.
Next, we have nominated for 7 Golden raspberries, which you may know as the exact opposite of Academy Awards.
Worst of the
Catwoman won.
worst.
Yes, Catwoman won 3, including Worst Actress, Worst Screenplay, and Worst Director. Halle Berry was fresh off her Academy Award for Monsters Ball last year, so she decided to show up to the Razzies in person to accept her award and sufficiently burn her agent and Warner Brothers. Listen to the speech she gives on YouTube. It is fantastic.
It's much more humble than Ben Affleck's Raspberry win, where he just went on Larry King and destroyed the thing.
And finally, Jean-Christophe Comar is director Pitoff's real name. Keep that in mind. He is noted for being a visual effects pioneer, kind of, sort of, and worked with VFX on several films in both France, his native country, and America. He actually directed one of the first films that was created on nothing but digital film. So he's got that going for him. I think it was called Vidoc, something like that. Vidock. It's French. But this wasn't his first time directing a film, but it was his first time directing an American film. So it was challenging. Keep in mind.
Yeah, if he has a visual effects background, what happened with this movie?
Yeah, that's also another thing of what were you sleeping? Were you busy? I think he might have just had to like force himself to not care about whoever the VFX person was, because otherwise he'd probably never get anything done.
Yeah, can we return to the thing I said we'd return to earlier?
Of course.
I don't know if you've seen Red Letter Media, their review of Jack and Jill.
No.
Okay, well, basically, they're like, the only reason that this movie could be so bad but have such a huge budget is that Adam Sandler was like, hey, all my friends, we're going to get tons of money. Like, I'm going to raise a ton of money to do this movie, and then we're not actually going to have to do any work because it's going to suck, and we'll... What the fuck just happened?
What? Hello?
Hello? We lost him.
Oh, no. Ben. I'm waiting for him to drop out real quick.
Yeah.
And come back.
Holy.
I might just ignore that whole Jack and Jill section.
Yeah.
There he is. Is he
There's
talking?
two of them.
Yeah, there's two Bens.
Yep.
Finally.
My
Sorry.
computer decided to crash. Clearly, it's an omen that whatever I was going to say was going to be dumb. So we'll move on.
Finally, Roger Ebert delivered a burn on Pitoff so bad it started a wildfire in California, raging to this day. In his movie review of Catwoman with these words: the director, whose name is Pitoff, was probably issued with 2 names at birth, and would be wise to use the other one on his next project.
FYI, there is a fire torch currently burning on Roger Ebert's grave, and it was started by that sick burn. It burns to this
Damn.
day.
An
It burns
eternal
bright.
flame.
Yeah, and you know what? Pitoff was like, "Oh, that hurts, right?" But he's totally correct. So, FYI, he went by Jean C. Comar in his next project.
Hey, at least he had a next project.
Good, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I don't think he's directing again in 2016, but I think he took a break for a while.
I've a couple more cat facts. Those weren't really cat facts. They were facts about the production details of Catwoman, but I have some actual cat facts.
Okay.
A group of cats is called a clouder.
What?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
You said cat facts. You have a cat fact. Learn your grammar.
Oh,
Singular, motherfucker.
cats are really smart, but they don't give a shit about people.
Oh, well, that's a fact. All right.
Cat common knowledge.
Let's get to that music section. I'm ready. Not really.
Oh, holy recris. Okay. Music for Catwoman is done by a man named Klaus Badelt. We haven't really talked about him all that much at this podcast because we haven't heard anything from him since, I don't know, maybe 2006. A few spare things here and there. Actually, he's one of Hans Zimmer's proteges from Remote Control Productions. He's credited with the first Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack, which is basically in name only, and that Hans Zimmer wrote about 70% of that soundtrack and then gave the rights over to him for contractual stuff. Anyway, Klaus Badelt, Catwoman soundtrack. You know, there's something just a little different about this soundtrack. It's very subtle. I'm going to, just have you listen to this first track I have pulled up, Venom. By the way, I don't think this soundtrack was ever actually released because it's not on iTunes, and if it's not on iTunes, it doesn't exist. But no, listen to this first clip, and then tell me if you hear something just a little different in there.
Is the different part that it was recorded on GarageBand with a little bit of Aretha Franklin?
Fucking lyrics. Break the mold! Break the mold! And that will just pop up throughout this soundtrack, just this Aretha Franklin soul singer just coming out of the woodwork to be like, yeah!
I don't know. Is Tony Braxton a closer analogy?
Oh, I don't know what this is supposed to be, but it's highly amusing because, well, just fucking listen to it. it's so silly and over the top to have a singer come in to do like one lyric to a score and then be done with it. Interesting experiment. Just fucking weird. Okay. Anyway, this next track I've got on the docket, Transformations, doesn't have any such thing to it, but it's more your traditional score sound.
Is this from when she's turned into a cat woman?
I believe so, yes. A cat.
I won't lie. I kind of like that. That was pretty decent.
Yeah, that's a more, like I said, traditional, gets the job done kind of sound.
It sounds like real music.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you say that because for my last track, I have some more not real music. Yeah.
Is Klaus Blood dead? Is that a man? Or is that a woman?
It's a man.
Why is he
Okay.
named after a thing that shoots water up your beehole?
Did I lose both of you?
Nah, I'm
Hello.
still here.
I'm here.
Oh shit. Okay, continue. It was
What? So,
delayed.
what's his name again?
Klaus Badelt.
So why he's named after a thing that shoots water up your beehole?
Klaus or Badelt?
Bidet.
Oh, is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's a bidet.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Close enough.
Yeah, that that may be why we haven't heard a lot from him in recent years. Everyone was just like, he's named after an enema thing. What the hell?
I asked because the screenshot to the clip you gave us for transformation or
Yes.
transformations has a woman with a crucifixion or a crucifix necklace on, and I'm like, who is that? Is that the vocalist featured in this?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, someone just put that clip online with a really emo-looking image to accompany it, like some 14-year-old somebody. It's like, this music makes me feel, man. Ugh.
It's
Yeah.
it's just a it's just words and pictures that go with it, kind of. So it's like Catwoman. It's in keeping with the theme.
It definitely
It's
keeps
just a
with that.
thing that's on the screen, and it doesn't really make sense.
Nope.
But you don't have to watch it.
It could be, for all we know, just a bunch of hot dogs on hot dog rollers. And it's like, this is so deep. I wonder what this means.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
Speaking of deep, Benjamin Bratt's role in this film.
Benjamin Bratt in anything is just
Benjamin Bat.
Benjamin Bat. Hey, at least they
Uh,
had some bat in this film.
Not really.
Not really. Anyway.
He's the worst detective ever. Let's get this straight, all right? The woman you are currently dating, who is able to climb a Ferris wheel, beat you in basketball by dunking over your head. You have to find out that she is Catwoman by some weird lipstick technology?
Oh, gosh.
Fine work, detective.
Detective, I'd like to introduce you to Karen Page. You'll have a lot to talk about.
When you're fired, she's taking over your job.
God damn. Okay.
Everyone in this movie was completely incompetent,
Yep.
just like in a really profound way.
With the exception of the innocent Sally, Alex Borstein's character, who just put on face cream because it's what the company she worked for sold, and it made her sick, and all she wanted to do was bang a doctor and have his kids.
The universal struggle.
So can we add this movie to the Tony Westphal universe because it ties in with Grey's Anatomy?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, okay. Anyway, continuing the trend of silliness, the last track I have on the docket, I don't even want to say its name yet because it defies what I don't even know what it's supposed to reference. Anyway, it's back to that weird fucking runway sound that's not really music, but it's fascinating to listen to. It's the track Like Cat. Not like a cat. Like Cat. Play it. Okay, I take it back. Maybe that was kind of banging.
Yeah, it kind of is, but actually, it's better out of context.
It's much better out of context. Like, it's almost a banger.
Yeah.
It is, really.
It rides the line between being a banger and being a jam.
Yeah. It's definitely a jam.
It jams.
But like with like, because this is playing during that CGI schlockfest of Catwoman jumping around buildings
The
and
CGI schlockfest of the entire movie.
well, pretty much. But there's a gratuitous crotch shot as she's grinding her nails down an alley, and then she like proceeds to jump across roofs like a cat, and you just can't get into the song because you're going, what the fuck is that? Right afterwards, she orders cream at a bar.
Side note, this is what happens when you don't release your own soundtracks to the public. People come up with weird names such as, like, Cat.
Oh, that's not even the real name.
One time I ordered a White Russian, and instead of using cream, the dude used lemonade.
Oh, God.
Wow.
But I was already a good 5 or 6 gin and tonics in, and I was like, this probably tastes good.
Oh, I'm sorry. That
And then I had it again when I was sober, and I was like, this is actually hot trash. But anyway, I think it would have been funny if, like, in that scene, she was like, I want a White Russian with no Kahlua or vodka or rocks. And then she just gets, like, a glass of lemonade. That would be funny.
Or it would have been more funny if, like, the bartender questioned her drink instead of just being typical placid about it and going, I'm sorry, you just want a glass of cream? Did I hear that right? Why didn't you just order a glass of cream? We just had this really nice transcendental scene where one character is questioning the absurdity of everything that's going on. I'm sorry, why are you eating tuna out of the can exactly?
No, it's just the bartender all the time. It's like,
yes.
Do you want some noodles with that tuna?
I could put that in the back. We got a microwave.
Do you want some noodles with that tuna?
I'll give you a noodle for that tuna.
What? Who puts noodles on tuna?
Tuna salad.
What are you?
Like
what are you
circles.
talking about?
Those little circle noodles that go into a salad. You ever had
Those
that?
are noodles. Those are macaroni. It's very different.
Noodles are the incompensation of all types of noodles.
No. Pasta is the pasta. Macaronis are a pasta. Macaronis are not noodles.
What's a noodle?
A noodle is long and like noodle shaped.
Oh yeah.
Pasta
what else
can be
is a
just
noodle?
any kind of thing.
All
And
right.
I know some people call them macaroni noodles, but they're not really. It's like Panda Bear. They're not really bears. They're not really noodles.
All right. So that was the music section, I hope.
I hope too. Wait, yeah, I know.
God.
It's done.
Oh, we're so off track.
You know what? This movie, we are mirroring the screenplay of this film.
It's just completely off the rails.
Like, every once in a while, we'll get back to the main plot. But most of the time, we're just doing these weird tangent things that don't make any sense. Someone's going to throw catnip at me. I'm just going to sniff it for a little bit. Like a moron.
Speaking of which, where are we at with our drinks? I'm almost 2 bottles in.
I've had like I'm about halfway done with my second beer.
I'm just coasting off the 3 drinks I had right before I came on, because I downed those pretty fast.
Probably
So,
a good idea.
Yeah, well, I got to get up. I got 5 a.m. work tomorrow, guys. And what is it? 10:30? So, you're
and
welcome,
you're drunk, so you wake
fans.
up at 4 no matter what.
Yeah, you're welcome, fans. Let's get to science, all right?
Yes, let's.
You've got this big-ass topic for me.
I got one big ass topic.
You might call it the perfect topic.
Oh, I am leaving this call You don't get a science topic tonight, Mister.
I've killed people for less.
I have glared at people in movie theaters for less.
Oh, I was waiting for a good moment. I was actually waiting for the perfect moment, but
God, goodbye.
Bye.
I'm leaving.
uh, Ben, you need to please come back, if you would. Thank you. He actually walked away, gang. I
And-
thought you should know that.
Just
And
kidding, I'm
hands on.
back.
Tell us, Ben.
I did walk away though.
Yes, you did. No one can fault you for that.
Okay, so science.
You had
Cats land on their
you had a
feet, right?
hissy fit. Mhm.
Cats land on their feet, right?
Sure, they do.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Good reflexes, I guess.
Okay, there's a thing called conservation of angular momentum,
Okay.
right? So
Cam.
basically, if a thing is not spinning, it can't just start spinning unless you
Push it.
push it. Yeah. If you have a basketball and you just balance it on top of your finger, it's not going to start spinning on top of your finger. You have to push it. Do this a couple times. So if you have a cat and you just drop it and it's not spinning and you're dropping it upside down, how does it start spinning so that it always lands on its feet? No matter how much from a height or
The speed at which it's following.
or the speed at which it's falling, or even if you give it a little flick of the wrist to get it started spinning in one direction, it'll land on its feet. Why is that? It seems to violate conservation of angular momentum.
They're Egyptian, right? They're Egyptian gods.
Cats are gods.
That's
So
right.
that's the end of the science topic. God exists, and he is a cat. No, actually, it's actually really interesting how they do it. And basically, it's called the cat riding reflex. And there is a minimum height that they need because spinning around in midair takes time. So most cats from a height of about 1 foot can safely whip themselves around to land on their feet. And they don't need a tail for it, which is interesting. But basically, what they do is, what allows them to do this is that they have a pretty sensitive inner ear, they have a very flexible backbone, and no collarbone.
Ooh.
So, what they do, they're on their back, maybe they're rotating one direction, maybe they're not. What they do is they bend themselves in half in the middle of their back, and then they rotate the two sets of they rotate their shoulders and their hips in the direction opposite of where their body overall is spinning, so that they conserve angular momentum but still can orient their body so that they're facing downward in the end.
So this tweet you posted earlier?
That is an animation of how it's actually done.
Go to Ben Bardo.
Ben Barbado,
Bardo's
yeah.
Twitter page. Yeah,
Or-
Barbado Twitter page. Or
Yeah,
Subaru Studies.
I put up on Twitter the animation for how this works, and yeah, it's hypnotizing to watch because you just see this cat fold in half and then its two halves twist around in a weird way, and they land on their feet.
So is dropping its back what gives it the momentum to start the spin?
No, it's all in the fact that they can twist. You can twist your shoulders, right? You can twist your hips.
Mm.
They can do it both at the same time. They have no collarbone, then an extremely flexible backbone, so they can do this really quickly and just whip around.
Twisty little demons.
So The describing like how they do this is like mystified physicist for decades. And James Clerk Maxwell of, if you study physics, Maxwell's equations, which describe light, electricity, and magnetism.
Didn't he discover electromagnetism?
He discovered the equations that unify electricity and magnetism.
Oh, you're right. Yes, everybody knew electromagnetism was a thing, but he was like,
He's
"Yeah,
like,
guy."
here are the equations that unite these two disciplines.
Yeah.
When he was at Trinity College, he did work on the falling cat problem, and what he would do is he would throw cats out of the windows and like watch them fall.
Sadist fuck.
And Maxwell like actually killed a bunch of cats. Because like if you get up too tall, then your terminal velocity is huge, and you splat on the ground anyway.
PETA and Petoff would have a word with him.
Yeah. So
I'd have a fucking word with him.
So yeah, that was James Maxwell. That was in the 1800s. The problem was not fully solved until the 1960s.
Wow, just killed a bunch of cats then, asshole.
So yeah, James Clerk Maxwell, sorry, actual cat murderer.
You have him to thank for all of these loopholes and paperwork and experiments now.
Yeah, blame him for this movie.
Yeah, the real menace behind Catwoman is James Clerk Maxwell.
The Phantom Menace, if you will.
God damn it, fuck.
Oh, hey, Ben, don't throw a hissy fit.
You did that one already, it doesn't count.
Oh.
Well, I didn't think anyone heard me, so I
I
figured
did,
I
I
should do
chose
it.
to ignore it.
Oh, I see. All right.
Anyway, so
Great.
that's how cats manage to land perfectly on their feet.
You can't roll your R's, can you?
No. There are certain... This is also completely off topic, but in speaking Spanish, there are certain words, like coming off of certain vowels or other consonants. It's super easy for me to roll my R's, but coming off of other vowels, it's really hard.
I don't care. All right, next setup is the drinking game rules, which rule number 1, start early.
I was gonna say this is just not fair with this movie because just about literally anything could incite a drink.
So we got to go for the ones that are not quite so obvious.
So you're ignoring all cat puns and all cat.
Right, you don't drink at the cat puns because you'll kill yourself.
Yeah, the cat gags in general, like the catnip shit, the landing on your feet. I don't know. But weird close-ups. Those were frequently sparsed.
But not ones that like not the ones that are like exploitative sexually.
No, that's exactly what he's talking about.
No, but like that one's too obvious. So you have to go for the close-ups that are just weird but not exploitative.
Well, there's that, but I'm also talking, straight up like face close-ups, like when she's about to go knock on the door to the party, and tell them to turn it off. Like there's a weird face close-up before the door opens that's sort of fisheye lensing her, and it's just not flattering, and it's weird. It's just like, why wouldn't you just go over her shoulder to the door opening up? Instead, that's the next thing you do, and it's like, why didn't you just leave it there? By the way, there's the dude in that scene, and there's also the chick who is like draped over the guy, and just to sort of show that this dude likes to party and all that jazz. That woman actress is Janet Varney. Yeah, if you don't know, Janet Varney is the host of the JV Club podcast, but probably most famous for her role as the voice of Korra in The Legend of Korra.
Oh,
Fuck yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So she
I'm
had a
glad her
nice.
career's come a long way since 2004.
Oh man. I would
Yeah.
I would add a drink for every time there's like a CGI double when she's jumping around and doing her cat stuff that makes Spider-Man 2 look good.
I'll allow it. Drink for bad CGI is too obvious, but bad CGI doubles. That's good. Drink for flashbacks.
Oh, yeah,
There's a
those
lot of
were weirdly
flashbacks that are
placed.
completely unnecessary.
Referencing back to my section, drink whenever lyrics show up in the music, or Aretha Franklin, Tony Braxton double, just like break the mold.
I've got a good one. How about when Catwoman first realizes her potential as a sexual femme fatale and does the catwalk, which Halle Berry's pretty good at, with the arched back, right? And they play that song. That's a jam, almost a banger. You have to do, because you're deep into the film, you have to do the 9 toe-to-toe steps, toe-to-heel steps, and pass that test as if while drinking. This'll prove your true mettle of the drinking game of Catwoman.
This will reveal your inner Catwoman.
For real. During the bar scene, when she orders cream, drink a White Russian like a normal person.
Drink a cup of Kahlua vodka and ice.
Yes. Drink everything she omitted from the White Russian. That's perfect. I like that one
Yes.
better.
Yes.
I like that one too.
God damn it, Catwoman.
I got, this logically would come later, but you gotta do something for that falling shot at the end of the movie.
Oh, you
That's
To finish
waterfall.
the bottle. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You're done.
That's the finish
have
the
to-
model.
You have to finish your drink before she hits the ground,
Yep.
Yep.
while at the same time switching between 3 drinks. Because you have to drink when it's a CGI, drink when it's a dummy, and drink when it's actually Sharon Stone or a stunt double.
Oh man. Just turn the
Tree-
movie off after that because
For real.
there's
Because it doesn't get good.
No.
Drink responsibly.
Turn the movie off before the opening credits start, because it doesn't get good after that.
Finish your drink during the weird cat opening sequence, and then go have a good time with your friends. That is.
Yes.
That is
The-
more than you will have at this movie.
Yep,
Throw away
that
your
is-
television.
Wherever you
Call your
got
parents.
Catwoman.
Tell them you love them.
However you got access to Catwoman, DVD, online stream, like block the website, delete the file, throw away the DVD. You don't need it in your
Microwave the
life.
DVD. It looks so cool when you microwave them.
Don't do that at home, children.
Do it no more than like 7 seconds.
Don't
And
do
don't-
it, children.
And don't do it to your cat either, even if you might feel like it. Cat doesn't deserve the Catwoman scorn.
We're not all James Clerk Maxwell. Holy hell.
Yeah, I'm not going to microwave my cat.
Thank you.
Gee.
They don't deserve it.
All right. I think we're done with the me hour. I think so.
Reach.
Like I said, we're mirroring this film.
Reach.
We're talking about a real movie? Okay. Wow.
Looks like
That was a
that'll
movie.
wrap it up.
Shit.
So that looks like it'll wrap it up. Super fans neater than a tight ball of yarn.
Ah.
Super movie Studies is recorded and produced
God damn it!
by Tryout Cop Productions.
Ah, God
This is,
damn it.
this is painful, but not as painful as this movie.
Listen to us on Napster.
Not only did I just watch Catwoman, not only have I had a beer and a half and therefore I'm completely plastered, but also, like, it's the hottest day of the summer so far. So at 10:30 at night, it's at least 80 degrees when I tell that bitch, please back up off these NUTs, because you gets none of these at ease. So anyway, subscribe to us on iTunes.
This movie.
Hit us up with a rating or a review. Yeah.
You can actually listen to us on Napster.
How 2004.
Well,
What the fuck is Napster? Is that like Bandcamp?
The joke was the cat is their logo. Was.
Well, okay.
Here, excuse me while I drink from these 2 bottles simultaneously to make it through the rest of this.
Oh shit, he's doing it!
Doing it! Props. Props. Well, you really... Go ahead.
On that note, we are super awesome on Twitter. We're the best on Twitter. We're gonna make Twitter great again.
We have words.
We have the best words on Twitter. Our favorite Tom in the universe, Twitter Tom, is there to keep things super huge and awesome. You can find us at Super Letter M Studies. Super M Studies. Let us know your favorite Catwoman memory. Please keep it at least somewhat appropriate for the kids.
Give us your favorite cat fact.
Yes.
Yes.
Tweet us cat facts.
Hashtag cat fact.
Cat facts, yes. Do that. It'll be great. It'll be better than this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing that. You're awesome people.
Oh, and finally, there's always tryupcop.com. I don't know how much I can talk about this right now, guys. Because
Go to
it's not
bed. You have to
updated.
wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I'm busy a lot, so unfortunately, and I'm the only one with the intuition to edit the site, so therefore, it hasn't been edited in a while because I am working a lot. So I apologize for that in advance, fans. If you're looking to use that as our central hub, we will centralize that even further
Quit
in
your
August.
job.
I am.
Yeah.
But not for another week or so. So, in the meantime, all of our episodes are, of course, on tryupcop.com, but also on iTunes. As Ben mentioned earlier, ratings are our friends. It's been like a year since we got a rating. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, don't make me
Yeah.
make another 3 fake accounts
All
to
you-
boost our standing in the algorithm when people search superhero podcasts.
All you former work people of mine who said you'd listen to this, go rate it now. I'm calling on you.
Yeah.
Yep, that is the most common lie we receive. Oh, you have a podcast? Sounds great. What's it called? I'll listen to it. Never do. That's fine. I get it. But still, don't be a dick. Rate the podcast, please.
Don't be a dick, be a dong.
Be a cat. I wanted
Be
to
a
have
pussy.
Don't
As
be-
we know, everybody wants to be a cat. Everybody!
No, watch it, Ritz the
Everybody.
Cats. That's the definitive Catwoman movie.
That is, yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
That'll
And if
do
you want
today.
your, like, exploitative racism, there's some of that in there, too.
Hip hop tracks because there's black people, or in that case, jazz tracks because there's black people.
I was referring to
that'll
the
do
Asian
today.
cat.
There's also the black jazz cats.
One of them's
your
Russian.
host.
Guys, stop. You're
The
digging
bass
a
player
hole
is
like
Russian,
I
I
do.
guarantee it.
You're
Oh
digging
my
a hole
god!
like
I want
I
to
do.
end this. Blow me. All right.
Okay, bye.
Shut up, Ben. For the love of God. I'm your host, Michael Maurer.
James Skyler Outsma.
I'm Ben.
As in Petoff, Ben. I hope you all have a perfect week.
Hey.